and I'm just consumed with success. And what I have found is that highly successful business owners have I call it an uncanny ability to either look at a situation, look at a challenge, look at an opportunity. They quickly weigh the pros and cons. And when I say quickly, I mean quickly, and then they decide.
Hello everybody, Cameron here. Welcome to this video for Cameron and Kenny Live and the Rise to Mastery podcast. In this video, I'm going to be giving you a quick recap of everything we talked about with our guest for today's podcast, Mr. Jim Palmer. All right, kind of forgot it there for a second, but thanks for joining me on this video. So Jim Palmer is the author of the new book, Decide: The Ultimate Success Triggers. And if you're watching this and you're interested in what the book is all about, you can get a free copy of the book from, just want to make sure that I get this right. It is decideforsuccessbook.com. I'll link that in the description below, along with the link to Jim's interview on Rise to Mastery. All right, so let's actually get into it. What did we talk about with Jim today? Well, Jim was a really cool guy. He's been doing this kind of coaching and business stuff for a number of years, and he's had a lot of success. We talked mainly about two different things. Okay, the first thing that we spent a lot of time talking about is newsletters. So for those of you who don't know, newsletter is kind of a little bit of an old school approach, direct marketing type of thing, where you actually send a monthly newsletter, which is just content that you type up and write out. You print it out, and then you get it sent to your customer database. You actually send them a physical copy of the newsletter. So it's not like email marketing. It's not really like like just sharing videos on YouTube. It's actually physical newsletter that they can read. And Jim does it for his business, and it has some amazing results. He helps other businesses. Actually, there's hundreds of businesses all across the world who actually use his newsletter service, right? Because his company will actually get the newsletter ready for you and send it out to your database. Without any questions about it, any business out there, if you're a business owner or if you're a marketing person for a business, no matter what niche you're in, no matter what vertical, no matter what your service is, you can be using newsletters to increase the value of your customers, right? I think Jim's numbers were that the average customer, the monthly coaching customer that get his newsletter, they actually stay his customers on average for 6 months longer, and they're worth up to $2,700 more. So that's just one segment of his business. And a lot like email marketing, if you follow Kenny and I, then you know that we're really big proponents of email marketing. But one of the points that Jim mentioned in his interview is that email open rates are going down. So since they're going down, it's going to be less effective. Whereas a physical newsletter, people are going to open that, people are going to read that, and then you're going to stay top of mind, which is really important. Jim gave a great example of a refinancing guy that he worked with, that a couple months after he worked with the guy, even though the guy was great, he just forgot about him. And Jim says, it's not our customers' responsibility to remember us. It's actually our job as marketers and our job as business owners to keep top of mind to our customers. And a newsletter is a great way to do that. All right. So we spent a lot of time talking about newsletter. Jim has a business where he, like I mentioned earlier, he actually helps other business owners create newsletter and generate newsletters. And it's not something that should be taking a lot of time. Jim actually said that if you're taking more than an hour to do your newsletter, then you're taking too long. Okay, so newsletters, learn about it, use it for your business, and I can pretty much guarantee it's going to increase your results, right? There's only 3 ways that you can increase, your business, right? Your sales. You can either get more sales, right? You can get more customers to spend more money with you, right? That's it. There's nothing else you can do. So by having this newsletter, you really are doing 2 things, right? You're getting more sales from your current customers, and you're increasing the number of times that they buy from you. So newsletters are really great. Jim talked a lot about that. He is sort of the newsletter guy, literally. He has a YouTube channel all about newsletter and some of the things you do. You can find his YouTube channel, Jim Palmer. I'll link that in the description below as well. Moving on, then we started talking a lot about the Decide, and this is what I really was excited about talking to Jim, and with his new book coming out, because there's a very key thing that I think all entrepreneurs have in common, and especially the successful entrepreneurs. Everybody can be an entrepreneur, I guess, but the successful entrepreneurs out there, they really go off these decisions, and when they decide to do something, they just do it, right? It's not a question of, oh, if I can do this, or how am I going to do this? It's really a matter of, this is what I'm going to do, right? And then you figure it out along the way. And so, computer just went down back there, the lights. So what Jim's new book about is just that, how the successful people out there decide to do things and why that's so important for their business. And if you're an entrepreneur, this is really, really important for you as well. I'm just looking at some of the notes when we were actually talking about the book itself. This is like one of those things where Jim just has so much great information that I was constantly like writing something and then having to put like a little side note and then go back to what I was writing and then finish off, try to follow along with whatever he was saying at this current time. So we talked all sorts of things about, just the mindset of making decisions and using that for your business. Jim talked a lot about how business owners and the really successful entrepreneurs out there, they don't live in indecision, because indecision is actually what can kill your business. You can make mistakes, you can make the wrong decision, right? If you can decide to go left or right, but if you go left, it could maybe temporarily be a setback because you should have gone right. But if you just live in the indecision of, okay, I don't know which way to go, left or right, then that's actually going to hurt your business more than just making a mistake. And eventually, after you develop the skill of decision making and just deciding to do things, your intuition becomes actually better. So there's less likely that you make the wrong decision initially. And he talked about how the most successful entrepreneurs out there can really take in a lot of information really quickly and make a decision, right? It's not contemplating and it's not going back and forth, and it's just a decision, okay? And he also talked about one of the things they do, like I mentioned with his YouTube channel, how he does that every single week. And he talked about how the most successful people, when they decide to do something, making the decision is definitely the first part, but you also have to be consistent and persistent with whatever you decided to do, right? You can't flake, you can't go back and forth, you can't kind of wobble between left and right. You have to make the decision to go left and continue down that path and be persistent with it until you know that it's just not the right way to go, right? It's not something where I'm just going to test a little while and then come back and go right. So we talked a lot about that, and a lot of the things that Jim said, it really resonated with me, not because I was like, oh, I should try to be more decisive, but because I could see in myself that, like, yeah, you know what, I decided to do something, I'm going to do it. It's not a question of how am I going to do it. It's not a question of is it right for me. It's just a matter of I decided I was going to do it, so I do it. That's about it. Let's see a couple other cool things. Oh, Jim brought up Fred Smith, the founder, the creator, whatever it was, of FedEx, and how he actually lost millions of dollars because he was willing to reinvest in his business and see the ROI that comes later. So we spent some time talking about that. Talked a lot about focusing on revenue generating activities, either doing something every day, and this goes back to the consistent and persistent thing we were just talking about, but doing something every single day that is either going to bring business into your company now or bring business into your company for the future. So doing something that's going to, revenue generating activities often, every single day if possible. Let's see, do I have any other cool notes? The side notes usually are pretty cool. Again, make sure you check out Jim's book. And then we pretty much wrapped it up with living a dream lifestyle. Jim talked about some of the things that he enjoys doing. He has a boat that he enjoys going on. He actually built his business to the way that it is now, that he only works 3 days a week. Now, the other times he's not just sitting back on his boat, even though that is part of his lifestyle. So we wrapped it up with ending on talking about, as business owners and as entrepreneurs, it's not just about, living and doing business kind of to do business, right? Not just working yourself to the bone. It's also about, building a lifestyle that you enjoy, because, the whole reason we're doing the business thing is so that we can have the lifestyle that we want. So don't forget that. And Jim did a good job of pointing that out to us as well. So That's going to do it for this video. If you want to see the full interview with Jim and learn everything that he had to say, because he really had a lot to say, and if you are a traditional brick and mortar business, or if you have your own business, you have a solid customer base, I highly recommend that you go find out more about the things that Jim does with newsletters, because like I said, bar none, any and every business should have newsletters going out to their customers. You can get a free copy of Jim's book and a whole bunch of cool stuff sent to you if you go to the link below, Decide Success. I'm not editing this, so I'm just going to sound like an idiot, but decideforsuccessbook.com. All right. All those links will be in the description below, along with the link to like our video, like our podcast. Go there. That's about it. Oh, I forgot. There is a little known fact out there that tigers actually hate cinnamon. So just thought that was cool. I want to check that out. But that's going to do it for this video. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let me know what you think about how you can apply newsletters to your current business. That is going to do it. Thanks so much for watching. I'm out of here.